Hey everyone, got some good news and some bad news. The bug is going on my house again, wreaking havoc with our digestion and makes it so I had to once again bump my gaming vlog that I wanted to do this week to another time. That's the bad news. The good news is, as per usual, I have a backup waiting to take its place already, and with the recent and success as of the newest Scream movie at the box office, it's making at least $60 million in change so far, almost 70 million. And I thought I'd finally talk about the last movie, in the off chance do decide to see it hit next weekend. So, oh, let's hear my first reading thoughts on 2023's Scream 6, which sees much of the cast and creatives from the previous requel return. So, let's get started. So, the movie picks up a little bit after the events where the previous installment left wherein and the survivors of the last film's events are trying to start life anew in New York City. He as well as trying to overcome a rash of accusations about their role in Ghostface's previous rampage. Age. However, once a wave of copycat crimes are taking place in the city, as they often do, they are thrust again into a series of very grisly demises, and they have to rely on their own knowledge of his previous work and of their love of horror to make it all alive. And given the setting, a lot of people were saying GTA 6 Manhattan, which the movie itself lampshaded, not just because they had the same distributor, who may or may not be a welcoming Warners in their fold soon either. They're still, as someone who has a soft spot for Jason Takes Manhattan, we'll talk about more of that another time. I was one of the people who was actually being on the more optimistic side for this one, and turns out that faith wasn't even rewarded. I may not have enjoyed it as much as the previous installments, but I still find it quite entertaining, spooky, and oftentimes darkly humorous as well. Oh, that's. And let's just say that there's a group of fraternity, or sorority people fairly early on that end up being among some of Ghostface's first victims, which is a classic one, not just horror, but any genre where you can have someone who represents the worst of humanity, so the viewer will have zero, oh, real feelings about seeing them getting bagged and tagged, and which fairly effective trope. And I also think that they made the setting also integral to the story. Like the opening takedowns are in a very recognizable venue. Who I have not visited but it relies specifically on someone taking up the guy's ghost face, trying to find the place they used to meet for drinks, and of course, was the most fateful line on the end of it on the phone. You know the one. Of course, on top of bringing back Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, who is also one of the film's co-producers, they also make use of a lot of iconography from the previous ones, and even somewhat divisive installments to show that yes, they are technically still canon and in their own way. Which I think some of my favorites, of course, include like the monitor from the first film, and yes, some of the people who were around in those timelines just don't know. TVs didn't used to look like that. I mean, when big screen meant really big, and the premiere ticket from the second movie and lighter and fax machine from the third, and it was it was the year 2000, and all these newer or office software where you could see everything and edit it right there wasn't really a thing yet, nor or were all these AIs being crowbarred into it either. So there's that. And the staging and practical work, of course, is as great as ever. And when there's trying to elude Ghostface and draw him out into a final showdown in the aforementioned and theater slash museum, which features a lot of the items I just talked about a moment ago. Oh, it's very effective use of the subway system. It's very effective for horror or settings that involve in some way because it's by design a fast moving being contained space where you don't have much room to escape or to slip out the or elsewhere. And it's definitely another huge hit to say the least. Is taking in an $166.5 million at the global box office. This on a relatively a modest return, and let's just say that no matter what happens within in the if I see whenever I see the next one, okay, so 166.5 million worldwide on a $35 million budget. Very nice return on investment there, I would say. Overall, I would say that it's definitely an enjoyable way to spend in a couple hours, and it's really saying something because of how full my calendar can be in a given year. I'm still putting mine together for this year. You will be see the fruits of it fairly soon, and let's just say that what I'm seeing part of this weekend is definitely so far living up to the hype for what I've been told. I mean, 97% and certified fresh rating, and early. A lot of people who have seen in this new movie earlier told me they've really enjoyed it. It's and like how what's going to be coming this weekend, and even if I'm only keeping a certain amount of information in my head as the release draws nearer. So, as per usual, I'm going to ask not to send me spoilers in my feed. I only had to clear up a bit of confusion about the character from one person I stand with, especially given the circumstances. Well, anyway, so to say for now, I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.